Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Ferko Mako, and this is a collaboration between Michael Gavko and Ferrum Forge based on his custom model, the Mako, hence the Ferko Mako designation. So we'll go into the normal format, specs, overall impressions, details, and then I will do a comparison with a custom Mako towards the end as well. So let's jump into it. Ships with just a standard little black baggie, comes with kind of a dog tag that designates it as the Mako collaboration. So anyways, fairly decent presentation. Michael was also kind enough to include one of his bottle openers, and this one matches the knife, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, alright, so let's just go into the specs then. So blade length is about 3.6 inches. Handle length is about 4.6. The thickness in the pocket is about 0.52 inches. The width at the widest portion, which is here, which is actually wider than the flipper tab portion, is about 1.6 inches. And this weighs in on my scale at 5.35 ounces. So blade steel is 20 CV. It does feature a few really neat things, such as the Hoback rolling detent, and this one utilizes a ceramic detent ball, which is a first. Has stainless steel lock insert, some titanium standoffs, and then the titanium pivot, and then the rest is essentially stainless steel as far as the body screws and everything go. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the specs. Just real quickly, let's go ahead and do a size comparison with the Mako. I don't know if it'll show it, but these two are pretty much the exact same size in terms of length. But I'll get into the specifics later as far as the comparison. But overall impressions, I've actually anticipated this model for quite a long time, and that is it's kind of twofold. I fell in love with the Gavko knives when I was at a USN gathering and I got to hold one, and then a bit more recently I was at Blade HQ and I handled the Fortis A, and I was blown away by the quality of that knife that you know, that I established or felt in the first 10 seconds of flipping it, holding it. So you know, I've been really excited for this knife, and it certainly delivers. This is one of 4 variations. There's 2 different blades. One has a finger choil, the other does not, and 2 different handle patterns. So 4 combinations total. But again, as far as my overall impressions, I had really high expectations, and I really feel like it delivered. It's great materials. If I had to sum it up, I would call this a Mako, a heavy-duty Mako, essentially, kind of a beefed-up version of a Michael Gavko Mako. So if you want one, just keep your eyes peeled. There'll be 200 of these made. Mike is doing 100, and then Ferrum Forge is doing 100, so I think they'll be readily available. Probably won't see really much of a markup on the secondary market since they'll be producing quite a few. So over the next month or 2, you'll see them pop up. Only downside, I probably want more than one. I mean, Mike keeps doing a bunch of essentially one-offs, and so I've already seen a few more that I really like, but I'm very happy with this one. So is it a custom? Is it a production? Is it a mid-tech? Who knows? It doesn't really matter. It blurs quite a few lines and has a lot of work in it, so it is pretty awesome though. But let's get into the details. So of course this is a titanium frame lock flipper with a stainless steel lock insert, cage ceramic bearings, has a fairly nice action. The Hoback rolling detent is a little bit different if you've never experienced it before, but the fact that they actually produced it with a ceramic detent ball is pretty awesome. When I did my review of the Hoback Quayback Mid-Tech, I talked about in that review, hey, it'd be really cool if they were able to do a ceramic detent ball in the Hoback rolling detent. And there's a slight difference. It feels a little bit smoother than the standard Hoback rolling detent. So I think the adding the ceramic ball actually was an improvement. But this one's still breaking in. I've tried to break it in as quickly as possible since I've received it. And my thumb has really taken a beating over the last few days here, so it does have a tremendous amount of lock bar tension on this thing. So I've been using my first finger for the most part to disengage it because my thumb's tapped out for the time being. But I think given time, it'll break it nicely. My Brian Nadeau Typhoon, that thing came with an insanely strong lock bar, but over time that thing broken very nicely as well. So I think given enough time and with enough opening and closing, this will break into be very, very nice. So, all right, let's start with the blade. So again, this one is kind of a one-off variation. Mike's doing a lot of customizing to the ones he's received, so a few will be pretty bare bones. This one's been given an acid etched stonewash, and then he's done some work on the handle here. But as far as the blade goes, this is made of 20 CV, and 20 CV is essentially an M390 comparable steel, so certainly a nice super steel. I don't really know the specifics or how it differs, and in use I'm sure you wouldn't be able to tell, but really good quality steel on this collaboration knife. So 20 CV hardened to 60 to 61 with this one. So anyways, it's been given the nice Gavko acid etch and stonewash, pretty consistent with my custom Mako. So but it also came with a tremendously sharp edge. Not quite hair popping, but I mean, this thing will slice paper all day long. So carries the Mako lines with that really cool harpoon, but this one does have a good bit of belly as well. So you know, as far as the blade goes, high flat grind, certainly a user, and this one would not show anywhere even if you hard used it. So these knives are definitely made to be used, just as all of the Ferrum Forge knives are. So anyhow, it does utilize obviously a flipper tab, no jimping. With the way it's designed, you can light switch or push down, which seems to hit it a little harder. So anyways, that's pretty much it for the blade. No markings on the blade. It does have the hull, just like the custom does. And with the hoback rolling detent, you're essentially able to overcome the detent hole much easier because it's not a stationary detent. So while the action isn't quite as explosive, it's very smooth, and you can do that middle finger flick without any problem whatsoever. So anyways, that's probably it for the blade. Nice thick stock though. Tip has some nice material to it, so you could hard use this tip and not have to worry about it. All right, let's get to the titanium handle. So he did some craters here. He did kind of a roughed up finish on top, almost similar to his tree bark, and then down here it's also been given another type of roughed up finish. So he anodized it green, and then probably did some more work on it, and then anodized it a nice bronze. So you can see the different colors it's picking up there, which are pretty cool. It does have a titanium pivot here, a Torx pivot. It's kind of interesting. On this side, it's just this little nub, and on this side, you have a full-size pivot. So I kind of like it. It's very minimalist. It doesn't detract at all, so that was pretty cool. But the crater finish is nicely done. Handles are nicely chamfered. So ergonomically in the hand, it still has the great kind of Gavko ergos to it. My thumb tip tends to drop right here into this little dip, or you can choke up, use the back of that harpoon there if you want to get in for even more control, but typically I'll hold it just like this. So anyways, ergonomically it's quite nice. All right, titanium standoffs here on the back. Really lovely, nice machining on the standoffs. Been given a green coloration, obviously to go with the knife. And then you also have a titanium pocket clip, also been given kind of that bronze green coloration. Some of these will have the skull, some won't. Basically the ones that he puts more work into, I believe, will have the skull on these, and then it's stamped USA. The spring clip works quite well. in and out of the pocket without any problems, great tension. It's a good clip, it's a good working clip, and this is where some of the cost savings come in. So it does have these 3 quite pronounced screws here. These are stainless steel screws throughout the body of the knife, but Mike did heat them up a bit to give them more of a bronze color, but they work really well for extraction. Typically when I grab my knife, I'll grab it like this, and so these 3 screws are excellent for extracting it from the pocket. Here you see the Gavko knives mark and then the Ferrum Forge mark, so nice place to put it, fairly discreet, but still, you know, marking that they were the makers on the blade. So you do have a stainless steel lock insert. That screw that you see, that is how you adjust the Hoback rolling detent, so you can basically screw it in deeper so you have a harder detent, or pull it back for a lighter detent. And then of course a nice big thick piece of stainless steel there to contact the tang of the blade. Fairly early lockup, probably about 30% or so, but this thing is absolutely rock solid. It almost feels like a fixed blade in your hand. I mean, there's just no movement. They did chamfer, or the insides have been chamfered, but as I mentioned, this is a very, very stout frame lock, so it does take a good bit of effort to disengage that. So for you fidgeters, it's going to give your thumb a workout for a little bit until it breaks in. I'm sure it'll break in to be a bit smoother. So the cutout has been put on the inside of the frame so that the outside stays nice and clean. But yeah, overall, again, great ergonomics, great materials, fairly decent price point for the Ferrum Forge, and then especially considering the fact that Mike gets a bunch of these and modifies them. So again, it's blurring the line. It's definitely beyond a mid-tech as far as build process, not quality. Quality has nothing to do with that designation. And a custom as far as the way it's built and the maker having his hands on it, or the makers. So again, Mike's selling these through his shop. Some are coming about fairly bare bones at about $600, and then the most expensive ones he's put up thus far have like the copper wash plus craters and other details are like $725. Who knows, he might do some really cool ones that are more, but that's essentially the price range you're looking at. If I had to guess, I would say that Ferrum Forge is probably going to sell the majority of the bare bones ones through their dealers, and then they tend to make a handful of really cool ones that they'll sell through their shop, or those might go to dealers as well. But they already did a really cool one for Jim Skelton that's based on Boba Fett, and I'm sure Jim will do a video of that later. But yeah, so let's just do a quick comparison with the full custom, and I'll talk about a little bit about the differences. So the first difference is obviously going to be the amount of handwork that has gone into it. A full custom Mako has slightly smaller handles. They're kind of trimmed down or thinned down a bit. And then obviously more contouring into it. So, you know, as far as ergonomics go, the full custom Gavko is going to be a little bit more refined and feel even nicer in the hand than the collaboration knife. So, this one does not utilize a stainless steel lock insert such as the Ferrum Forge ones do, and obviously there's less tension on the lock bar. But this one took a while to break in as well. It's now reaching kind of its peak sexiness is what we'll call it. So really smooth, really great action. Now this does use, I believe, a ceramic detent ball, and so since the ball is stationary, it takes more effort for it to break out of the detent hole, so you get a little bit snappier action than you get with the collaboration knife. But again, still fairly smooth. I believe the blades, yeah, the blade stock is going to be thinner as well. So let me see if we can capture that here. Yeah, you can definitely see the difference there. And then this one has a nice rounded belly. This is a modified Warncliffe of sorts, on kind of what I consider the quintessential Mako. Both work well as far as the kind of thumb flick, or I'm sorry, middle finger flick out the back there. But yeah, and then this has obviously a 3D sculpted clip. This one has the spring clip. So, you know, for I think this one was $700. I think that's what I paid for it. This one was $850 direct from Mike, so you know, $150 price difference. Is it noticeable? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, well, it is, because again, this is more refined, has better ergos, more contouring, a little bit more handwork in, but this does have the stainless steel lock insert, which I love, and Mike's talked about potentially doing those sometime in the future. It's just a matter of working out the logistics and having someone make those little parts, because it's not smart to make those himself. It's just takes too much time. So anyways, I'm very, very happy to have both. I really think that this collaboration knife really delivered. And again, with Mike doing a bunch of cool, essentially one-offs, there's going to be a lot of really neat ones. So this is my first. At some point, will I maybe pick up another one or maybe trade for a different one? It's possible. I won't say that it's not, but I think they really delivered. I really, really like this knife, and it certainly lived up to my expectations of how cool it could be. So anyways, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comments or questions, ask below, and you can always follow me on Instagram as well under Epic.